Welcome to the Promethean Podcast, a recap and review of the latest Promethean newspaper at the University of Wisconsin-Superior. The Promethean is now 104 years old. I'm your co-host, Norah Schmitz.
And I'm the other co-host for this program, Lily Hanson.
The top story of the February issue was the visit of President Joe Biden to Superior to announce the funding for the Blatnick Bridge. We will take a closer look at this story with two of the Promethean reporters who were there later in this broadcast. Are you interested in learning a new culture while still in college? Enrollment is currently open for fall 2024 and spring 2025 for a study abroad program in Scotland. The semester-long program will take students to historical locations to teach them about the Scottish culture. More information about costs in the program are located on the Study Abroad portal, which is accessible through the UW Superior website. Coming this spring, the well-known romantic comedy Almost Maine will hit the stage at UWS. Joshua Porter, UWS alumni, will be directing this play. Porter, a 2023 fall graduate, is excited for this upcoming show. This won't be Porter's first show, but it's his first as an alumnus. Porter states that it will be like a live rom-com and people will like to see it.
The University of Wisconsin-Madison announced in December that the fall of 2044 they will be offering free tuition to Indigenous students registered to one of the federally recognized tribes in Wisconsin. This decision may influence other UW system schools to follow them. The president of Native Nations Student Organization at UWS, Dylan Krisick, explained that this initiative can benefit and significantly increase opportunities for Indigenous communities, and he hopes to see other schools follow as well. In Superior, you can find the Old Firehouse and Police Museum. In the museum, you can find all kinds of historical equipment, archives, and memorabilia. You can even find a Hall of Fame which honors firefighters and police officers who have risked their lives protecting people. The museum offers self-guided tours for anyone who is interested in learning more about the firehouse.
In other news, in the physiology lab, senior student athlete David Collins is conducting research for his capstone. This free test indicated an individual's resting metabolic rate, maximum metabolic rate, and body composition. Within an hour, Collins can give the individual valuable information about their health and the minimum number of calories you need to sustain yourself throughout the day. By taking part in Collins' research, it helps support a fellow student, but also the participants get an idea of their health. As spring slowly approaches, winter sports are ending. For the UWS men's basketball team, this year has been a great one. One player to help them is Javon Walker. The senior guard hit 1,000 career points against Marian University on January 22, 2024. Coach Greg Polkowski states that Walker has been a big impact on this program. Walker has grown into a leader on the team and has helped them win some tough games. Walker stated that staying confident throughout his career is what helped him to achieve such a goal. The UWS men's basketball team finished second in the conference, losing in the Upper Midwest Athletic Conference Championship game. UWS and Yellow Jacket Athletics have announced a partnership with Synovus Energy. This partnership will help advance the on-campus athletic facilities. According to the Yellow Jacket press release, this agreement will bring in $450,000 to the university for additions to the Superior Choice Credit Union Stadium. Athletic Director Nick Bursick says that he's excited for this partnership and how it will enhance the student-athlete experience on campus. The Superior Choice Credit Union Stadium will be completed in the fall of 2024 for Yellow Jacket athletics and athletes.
The UWS baseball and softball teams started practicing in January and will continue their seasons throughout the spring. Both teams are working to secure their spot in the UMAC tournament that will be held at the end of their seasons. With warm weather present in the Northland, the two teams were able to begin practicing outside, which is normally something they do when they return from Florida in March. This opportunity had both coaches agreeing it will benefit them tremendously and are both pleased with how the teams are looking so far. Back to the presidential visit in Superior. President Joe Biden revisited Superior, Wisconsin on January 25th to announce that he is moving forward with his contribution of $1 billion to replace the Blatnick A Bridge. The John A. Blatnick Bridge. The bridge was first opened to traffic in 1961 and since then has been crucial for travel and the local economy. Last time President Biden visited Superior, he explained his plan to invest in infrastructure all across the United States. For decades, people talked about replacing the bridge, but it never got done, until today, the president said. Both Wisconsin and Minnesota contributed $400 million to pay for the estimated $1.8 billion project. In addition to the new bridge, it will also create 10,000 construction jobs. Here's what the president said in Superior.
2 of the Promethean staff members attended and covered the presidential visit, editor Drew Kerner and sports editor Isaiah Wiita. First, can you guys tell us about your experience there?
Yeah, I can start off. So this is my first presidential coverage, and it was very interesting. I mean, I thought it was like a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity for me, but I mean, my coworker Drew here has done it twice now at his time at UWS, which is kind of fun. But I mean, we got there at around, 8 a.m.?
Yeah, we got there around 8 a.m., and then we had to be out of there by 9 because I had the bomb squad go in, make sure that all of our equipment was checked. There was nothing kind of sketchy around. And then, we had to be out there by 9. We didn't return until, 10?
10:30 probably. And then we dropped up our stuff at Earthrider Brewery, but when we were walking up, we went into the restaurant area and, the brewery area where they serve the guests, and there were a whole bunch of congressmen talking. We just walked in and we're like, hey, where do we drop off our stuff at? And they're like, who are you guys? And they talked to them and we're like, we're the Promethean. They're like, yeah, you're not supposed to be here right now. So
a few of them asked if they wanted us to get interviews, but we were like, we don't know, we don't have anything prepared, and we don't know who you are or what to ask.
Yeah, we were on a time. We wanted just to get in and out, make sure we got in, but after that, we went and had to wait for about an hour and a half. Got back in at 10:30, probably closer to 11, because we got there at 10, and it took a long time to get through security. We had to sit there, and then out front there was protests going on. And Drew got a couple of photos and videos of that for coverage-wise to try to get both sides of it. But
yeah, but we were kind of limited to being stuck in a line because we just had we couldn't leave the line because if we lost our spot, we may or not have been able to go back into Earthrider Brewery. So I wasn't going to lose my space at all. It's pretty interesting going in every single at both presidential elections that at both presidential visits that I've been at. You got to strip yourself down of anything metal, and then they have to take the metal detector to you. Just make sure everything's safe, and then anything that's in your purse or anything you have in a backpack, they rummage through. The one thing that they don't allow in is water bottles of any kind, and when I asked them why, it's because you could easily throw them. That was their answer.
Yeah, and when we were planning out things, we left all the stuff that we needed in there to get searched. We didn't have any of our backpacks or anything. We left our camera, our backpacks, all our stuff in Earthrider, so we didn't have to start digging everything out. So all we had to do was take out our phone, wallet, keys, and Drew had a little notepad that he had in there.
Yeah, my little reporter pad.
Yeah, so we were trying to make it as easy as possible for us and then also for the security.
What are your biggest takeaways from the visit?
I'll start on this one. So my biggest takeaway is kind of, I kind of got out of the visit as a whole that it was kind of a Biden announced something 2 years ago, and he came back to kind of deliver on his promise, because 2 years ago he came to UWS and he spoke about boosting up the infrastructure in the Twin Ports and across the United States. Since those 2 years, he has been able, Congress and legislator has been able to get the bipartisan infrastructure bill signed into law, which provided multiple public projects to be redone. One of which is being affected here is obviously the Blocknick Bridge. So, I don't like to use that bridge because whenever I drive on it, the wind speeds kind of pushes me over. So I always take the other bridge, the Richard I. Bong Bridge. But it's kind of nice to know that they're going to be replacing the Blocknick Bridge, because it has been around since 1960 or 1961, if I remember. It started construction in the late 50s in 58 or 59, finished in 60, 61. And the things that always stuck out about me about the bridge in particular is the numbers that they shared constantly between the lead up to the presidential event. Both of us, we work over at the Fox station too, and on New Year's Eve, I had to go cover Amy Klobuchar, who came to the Blocknick Bridge to pressure the federal government in giving in support of the $1.1 billion towards the bridge. And so I kind of knew that it was coming, but I just didn't know when the president would actually arrive to say that he's delivering on his promise.
Yeah, and for me, it was just a real eye-opening experience to realize that I could cover a big event like that. I mean, we were there, and next to us was our coworkers from Fox 21, but then right next to us was Fox National from Chicago, and then on our left-hand side there was another national station there. So just kind of like, it was kind of funny. They had a huge setup of like going live. They had pretty much like a little mini stage, and we had a little tripod and a camera, but we still got the coverage, we got the video, and we got that story out. So it was just kind of cool to see that at 21 and 20 we can go out and get a big story like that that's happening in our local community.
And especially one that kind of competes alongside with national news organization and also other news organizations. There's not a lot of times that, as a college newspaper, we get the opportunity to do stories that is getting national attraction or even getting big local attraction. That doesn't really happen much.
I guess kind of going along with that question, how has this experience impacted both of you as reporters?
I can start first. So for me, it was realizing that if you want to work in the national level or like a bigger market, you got to know how to move fast and work really fast. Like after the president left, people were writing stories on their phone, pulling out their computers, uploading files, their video on the spot, and they were getting it all uploaded, or they were recording stand-ups real quick, or they were going live. So like it was like within probably 15, 20 minutes, everyone was just sitting down and working real quick because we couldn't leave right away. They had to make sure the president left and the building was swept and clear for him to leave. And pretty much once he got over the bridge, then we could start leaving. But people were, as soon as he was gone, they were focused on the story they were doing or the content that they had to produce. So working in a bigger market, you're going to have to learn how to work on your toes a little bit.
Yeah, and especially they have a little writing pit just off the side of the main room where we were at to see the whole conference, world presser, I guess, where they just have nothing but tables and chairs and extension cords available for anyone who has to sit down and just type or edit on a laptop, which there's quite a few people that do that. The guy who was right behind me and right next to Isaiah, he was from National Fox, and he was the only person there. So he was there managing 2 cameras, a live setup, and jotting down notes. And then afterwards, after he packed up, he was just sitting there writing and editing away. So it was it's kind of intense. I'm kind of glad that we get the local perspective where we have a little bit more leadway, a little bit more time. It doesn't have to get done in the next hour. It could get done by 9 o'clock or sometimes even a week later for our college schedules because they offer us some flexibility there.
Yeah, and then that guy who was behind Drew and next to me, he was from the Chicago Fox News station. So, like, after he got his assignment done, he had to drive all the way back home to Chicago. So, I mean, he still had his day wasn't over after he got the story out. He still had to drive home.
Yeah, he got paid for the whole thing, though. I did hear that from him. I was talking to him, but, like, do you get reimbursed for your payment? He's like, oh, yeah, they pay for my gas. They pay for my drive time. They pay for any hotel stays I need to take. So I was like, ooh, there's some perks to working in those national fields, but I don't know if I want to take them myself.
So going back to the bridge, what do you guys think this project means for the Twin Ports, not only transportation-wise, but for the economy, too?
Well, I don't remember the exact figures that they have used, but I believe they say that there's they have like a 3-4-5 rule that Klobuchar always mentioned, where it's like there's 3,000 or 33,000 people going across the bridge each day. It brings in $4 billion of money in for infrastructure. You probably have to quickly fact check whether or not this is right because I'm just going off memory. I wrote the article like a couple weeks ago, so information's already gone. But it brings in a lot of money in exports, and especially with having with the event being at Earth Rider Brewery. Tim Nelson, the CEO of Earth Rider Brewery, I mean, that bridge kind of is his lifeline. It's just across the street from him where the exit is to get onto the bridge. So it's really easy for his business to use that as a way to get all of his goods across the bridge to Duluth. But so he kind of stressed how important the bridge is for him. So for having the bridge kind of being used as a focal point of something that could be improved on is looking good for his business, but it's also looking good for just the flow of traffic that it looks to bring in for Duluth and Superior, because with the new redesign of the bridge, President Biden said during his speech there that it's going to be widening shoulder length, so you could actually pull off on the bridge and pull over if you have like a car problem or a flat tire, instead of, at the moment, there's no room to pull over. If you got to pull over, you're kind of blocking the bridge, especially on the Garfield side and the Duluth end. There's like construction going on there. It's down to one lane. It's not going to look good if you have any car problems on that bridge.
Yeah, and it also just creates a lot of jobs for people in the Twin Ports, maybe people who are coming out. And a big thing is they were saying that it's a bridge that connects, two cities, Duluth and Superior. And, that's a big deal. This is a bridge that connects Minnesota and Wisconsin together, and so that kind of unites them together as one. And so if you improve a bridge like this, you're kind of improving the connection between the two states and between the two cities.
I will say, though, if they didn't have that bridge, they at least have the Richard I. Bong Bridge, but if they didn't have either bridge, then we would have to have like a 40-minute detour down to Oliver, Wisconsin, which I don't know how many people even go that way, besides me every once in a while.
Wow. Okay. That was so poetic of both of you at the end. So, through the whole experience, everything you took away, what was your guys' favorite parts?
I'll let you take it.
I mean, it was all fun. Honestly, Drew and I get into some interesting situations when we're on this job. Our day's different every time we work together. I mean, we've done Grandma's Marathon together, and then that same day we had to go cover a breaking news story, and then...
Yeah, where a food truck hit a light pole and kind of went up on fire and exploded.
And so, it's different. Every experience is different, but for this one, it was just kind of fun to be a college newspaper in a very national story. Every time we talk to someone, oh, who are you here with? We're like, oh, UWS, Promethean College Newspaper. And this one guy's like, how'd you guys get in here? We're like, we got our ways. And he's like, that's awesome that you guys are here, because I would never see any college newspaper do that. So it's just kind of fun to be not an outlier, because we're still, an organization that covers the Twin Ports. But, to be at a national story, like I said, and as a college newspaper was really fun.
Yeah, and then for me, this experience was way less stressful than the last one, because the last one, we had, I can't remember, but I think we only had like a day and a half notice. For this one, we actually had 2 days notice, and I was able to get us access the proper way this time. So, it was way less crazy on our side to actually get in. So this experience has been way more relaxing, although it is still a high-stress area, because, it's not every day the president comes. People are going to go a little crazy here and there.
And I got to send a photo to my grandma of Joe Biden, and she freaked out. I was like, hey, guess what I did today? And I sent her the photo, and she just went nuts.
Yeah, definitely a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Do you guys hope that maybe you could do something like this again in the future at all?
Maybe. I don't know. If I'm still around in journalism while the president comes in my area, I won't not take the opportunity.
Yeah, I think that's the big thing when you're going into journalism. You got to just take any challenge that comes at you and just kind of roll with it, because there's some topics you'll know more of. I know a lot of sports, and Drew doesn't know sports that well, but he still could do a sports story if he needed to, because he knows how to roll with the punches and do what he needs to do to get that story done on time and do it well.
If you're going to talk about sports, I have done some ski stories, and I did a mini dog sled race story. I've done, so overall, it is kind of something you just got to roll with the punches, because, you don't wake up every day and just expect to report on the president. It just kind of happens.
All right, well, that wraps up this edition of the February edition of the Promethean. I'm your co-host, Lily Hanson.
And I'm your other co-host, Norah Schmitz.
Be sure to look for the March issue coming out soon. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks to our guests, and thanks to the Promethean podcast.